You're 28 years old. The letter arrived in May 1943. Your commanding officer pulls you aside in the desert outside Tunis. The Americans have you now. You're a prisoner of war. 3 years of propaganda have prepared you for this moment. You know what awaits. The Americans are cruel. They're barbaric. They'll execute you or work you to death. Your family will never see you again. You board a transport ship in Algeria with 30,000 other German soldiers. Not death squads waiting on the dock. Not execution chambers. Just American efficiency. Identity cards. Photographs. Medical examinations. Geneva Convention rights explained in fluent German by officers trained specifically for this moment. You're confused. You're also still alive. The Liberty ship that carries you across the Atlantic is itself a shock. You've heard rumors. Ships being built in days instead of months. You dismissed it as propaganda. Impossible. Yet here you are, standing on a vessel constructed so quickly that German intelligence refuses to believe the reports. The SS Robert E. Peck was built in Richmond, California in 4 days and 15 hours. One ship, 4 days. The Americans are producing 3 of these ships per day at peak capacity. You don't learn this statistic till later. Right now, you're learning something more immediate. The food. The ship's galley serves better meals than you've eaten in 6 months of desert warfare. White bread. Real coffee. Meat twice a day. Your bunkmate, a Panzer tanker named Friedrich, whispers that it must be propaganda. They're trying to impress us before the interrogations. You want to believe him. You also want another helping of food. The ship's crew disposes of waste that makes you physically ill to watch. Half-eaten steaks go into the ocean. Whole loaves of bread follow. Gallons of milk get poured overboard because it's been sitting too long. Your stomach churns. That waste equals a week of rations back home. The American sailors barely glance at it. To them, it means nothing. Their supply is limitless. 2 weeks at sea. You start calculating. The engines powering this ship. The technology you recognize but can't quite comprehend. Radar antennas rotating above the bridge. Standard equipment on a cargo vessel. You've been told only Germany and Britain possess this technology in limited quantities. Yet here it is, casual and common. Lieutenant Colonel Wilhelm von Stroborn, a Prussian aristocrat whose family served every German war since Frederick the Great, watches the radar spin and knows something fundamental has shifted. He later writes in his memoirs, "As our ship approached the American coast, I watched that antenna rotating. This technology we believed only we possessed was standard equipment on a cargo ship. It was then I first suspected Germany had already lost the war." August 2nd, 1943. Norfolk Naval Base, Virginia. You step onto the dock and stop walking. The base sprawls across 300 acres. The docks stretch for miles. Cranes load and unload dozens of ships simultaneously. In a single day, this one port handles more tonnage than the entire German port of Hamburg manages in a week. You count 47 cargo ships in various stages of loading or unloading. Each crane operates with electric power, moving smoothly and continuously without the coal smoke that chokes German industrial cities. Obergefriedier Jon Weber, a factory worker before conscription, understands industrial production. He's seen German plants. He's never seen anything like this. The prisoners are formed into columns for the march to waiting trains. Along the route, you pass parking lots filled with civilian automobiles. Hundreds of them. Workers' vehicles. In Germany, private automobile ownership is a privilege of the wealthy and Nazi Party elite. The Volkswagen promised to the German people since 1934 remains propaganda. Fewer than 1,000 have ever been delivered to civilians. Here, ordinary dock workers drive their own cars to work. You try to process this. Factory workers own automobiles. This seems impossible. It also seems undeniable. The trains themselves shatter what remains of your understanding. Not cattle cars. Not the 40 and A wagons that have carried German troops across Europe. Full passenger coaches. Pullman cars with padded seats that convert to sleeping berths. Dining cars with white tablecloths and silver cutlery. Observation cars with panoramic windows. Hetman Radka, a decorated Afrika Korps veteran, writes in his secret diary, "Boarded like tourists, not prisoners." The American guards seem almost embarrassed by the comfort. One sergeant apologizes that the air conditioning isn't working properly. Air conditioning in August. In Germany, you've heard rumors of such luxury. You believed it existed only in Hitler's personal train. The 3-day journey from Norfolk to the camps of Texas will destroy Nazi ideology more effectively than any military defeat. As the trains roll through Virginia, you press your face against the window. Every small town blazes with illumination. Martinsville, Danville, Greensboro. Communities that in Germany would consider themselves fortunate to have a single electric street lamp display illuminated shop windows. Electric signs. Houses with lights burning in multiple rooms simultaneously. The trains pass factories running night shifts, windows glowing, parking lots full at midnight. Obergefriedier Mayor, whose father is a Nazi Party bloc leader in Hamburg, writes in a letter that survives discovery. What passed through dozens of cities that first night? Everyone had more electricity than all of Hamburg. In Roanoke, Virginia, the train stops for water and coal. You watch American railway workers perform in 30 minutes what takes 2 hours in Germany. Automated coal loaders. electric water pumps, mechanized lubrication systems. Every aspect of the operation demonstrates technological superiority. More disturbing is the casual wealth of the workers themselves. They wear leather boots that would cost a German laborer 2 months' wages. They drink Coca-Cola from glass bottles and throw the empties into bins without thought. They smoke cigarettes continuously, stubbing them out half-finished. Obergefreitier Heinrich M. Müller, an electrical engineer from Hamburg before the war, calculates that the single railway yard uses more electricity in 1 hour than his entire district in Berlin uses in a day. The waste is magnificent. They leave lights burning in empty buildings. Electric fans run in vacant rooms. It's the carelessness of infinite resource. As the trains cross into Tennessee and Kentucky, American industrial power reveals itself in full display. Endless factories stretch beyond the horizon, each one larger than anything most have seen in Germany. The Alco aluminum plant in Tennessee extends for 3 miles along the river. Its electric furnaces consume 175,000 kilowatts of power, more than the entire city of Munich. Near Louisville, the trains slow as they pass the Rubbertown complex. Synthetic rubber plants have sprung from empty fields in just 18 months. 4 massive facilities, each one employing thousands of workers, producing 800,000 tons of synthetic rubber annually. Germany invented the process. Your nation has never managed more than 120,000 tons in its best year. The trains pass Ford's Willow Run plant outside Detroit, visible from miles away. This single factory, built in just 9 months, produces a B-24 Liberator bomber every 63 minutes. At peak production, 40,000 workers assemble bombers for 50,000 parts manufactured by 1,500 subcontractors. The plant consumes 2.5 million square feet of floor space and uses more electricity than the entire German city of Cologne. Hartmann Verli, a Luftwaffe pilot shot down over Tunisia, presses his face against the window. He counts 17 B-24s in various stages of completion visible from the train alone. Your propaganda said American planes are inferior, hastily built. They fall apart in combat, but you can see the precision of the assembly lines, the quality of the construction. These aren't inferior aircraft. They're simply built faster than comprehension allows. In St. Louis, you cross the Mississippi River on the Eads Bridge. Below, barges carry more grain than Germany's entire harvest of 1942. Grain elevators stretch along both banks. Each one holds enough wheat to feed a German city for months. Unritzia Karlschmidt, a farmer's son from Bavaria, writes in his diary, "The Americans transport food as we transport ammunition, in endless quantities without concern for loss. I watched them loading a single barge with enough wheat to feed my entire village for 5 years. The crane operator was eating a sandwich with meat thicker than our weekly ration." In Kansas City, the train stops at a massive stockyard. Tens of thousands of cattle wait for slaughter. The smell of meatpacking plants fills the air for miles. German prisoners who subsisted on 200 grams of meat per week in Africa watch American workers eating beef sandwiches during their lunch break. They eat meat like soldiers eat bread. No. They eat meat like you wish you could eat bread. The guard buys hamburgers from a stand near the station. Meat, cheese, vegetables on white bread for 15 cents. He buys 20 of them without thinking. Pays with a single dollar bill. This isn't special. This is their normal food. Camp Heron, Texas. The arrival provides the next level of cognitive demolition. The camp was built in just 4 months. It houses between 3,000 and 4,800 prisoners in conditions exceeding what most have known as civilians. Wooden barracks with electric lights, flush toilets, hot showers, steam heat. Each building constructed with more lumber than entire German villages possess. The camp hospital astonishes the medical personnel among you. Oberstlieutenant Colonel Dr. Friedrich Bauer, chief surgeon of the 164th Light Division, finds himself in a facility better equipped than most German civilian hospitals. Ray machines, surgical equipment, pharmaceutical supplies unavailable in Germany since 1941. All standard provision for enemy prisoners. They have penicillin. This miracle drug you've only heard rumors about. They use it freely, even on prisoners with minor infections. German soldiers are dying for want of basic sulfur drugs, and the Americans give their most advanced medicine without hesitation. The camp kitchen becomes another classroom in American prosperity. Prisoners assigned to cooking duties discover walk-in refrigerators, electric mixers, automated dishwashers, gas ranges capable of preparing meals for 5,000 men. The daily ration includes fresh milk, eggs, meat, vegetables, and white bread. Quantities German civilians haven't seen since 1939. Feldwebel Otto Krebs, a former hotel chef from Munich, writes, "Today we threw away more food than my family has seen in 3 years. Not spoiled food, simply excess. The American regulations require we prepare 10% more than needed to ensure every prisoner receives full rations. The surplus is discarded. I wept as I threw perfectly good bread into the garbage." By September 1943, labor shortages in American agriculture lead to employment of prisoners in fields and factories. Groups are trucked daily through the American heartland. No blindfolds, no restricted routes, you see everything. Endless fields of corn and wheat. Factories running 3 shifts. Shops full of goods. Parking lots full of cars. Houses with refrigerators and radios. At a cotton gin outside Houston. You watch a single machine process more cotton in 1 hour than your entire village could handle in a month using traditional methods. The farmer who owns the gin is nobody special. Not aristocracy, not a party member, just a farmer. Yet he has electricity, running water, a truck, a car, and a tractor. His workers, including the Negroes, eat lunch from boxes containing more food than German workers receive in a week. Every farm you pass is the same. The most devastating revelations come to prisoners who work near American factories. At a Campbell Soup factory in New Jersey, you watch production lines processing more tomatoes in a single day than most German factories handle in a month. The facility operates with a skeleton crew of women and elderly men. Most young workers are in the military, yet production exceeds peacetime levels. Everything is automated. Electric conveyor belts, automatic filling machines, steam cookers processing hundreds of cans simultaneously. One elderly woman monitors controls managing what would require 50 workers in Germany. She does this while listening to the radio and drinking coffee. Near Detroit, you unload coal at a power plant. Across the water, you glimpse the River Rouge complex, 100,000 workers, producing jeeps, aircraft engines, and tanks. The plant consumes 1.5 million kilowatts of electricity daily, more than the entire city of Hamburg. You can see the parking lots. Thousands of cars belonging to workers. Workers in Germany. Even officers rarely own cars. Here, factory workers drive to work. The guard tells you many workers own 2 cars, one for work, one for family use. You think he's mocking you. He isn't. Christmas 1943. American organizations send 500,000 Christmas packages to German prisoners, enemies who were trying to kill American soldiers months earlier. Each package contains cigarettes, candy, toiletries, and games. The local Methodist church choir performs Christmas carols in German. Women from town send homemade cookies and cakes. The Boy Scouts deliver handmade Christmas cards. This kindness toward enemies shatters the final remnants of Nazi racial theory. Oberleutnant Walter Mueller, whose brother died in the Hamburg bombing, writes, "They know we are their enemies. Many have sons and husbands fighting against our armies, yet they show us Christian charity, not propaganda. Genuine kindness. What kind of people treat enemies this way? Only those absolutely certain of victory and secure in their power. The Christmas feast defies comprehension. Turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, gravy, vegetables, pies, ice cream. Quantities Germany hasn't seen since before World War I. You eat until you're sick, unable to comprehend such resources lavished on enemies. You're eating like kings. Better than German generals eat. Better than party leaders. And this isn't special. The guards tell you this is a normal American Christmas dinner. Every American family eats the same meal. If they can feed prisoners this way, what must their own soldiers eat? By March 1945, you understand what America is. Not a weak, decadent nation. Not a country on the verge of collapse. A colossus. An industrial machine of unlimited power operated by a people secure enough to show mercy to enemies. The propaganda you believed for 12 years evaporates. You return to Germany in 1946 carrying knowledge. Knowledge of how a democratic industrial society functions. Knowledge of prosperity. Knowledge that the future belongs to freedom, not conquest. You're a witness to what happened when a free people work together. That changes everything.